Hi, thank you for joining me today as we are here to talk about some of the important tips and important tricks that you're going to need to use to be successful before and after surgery. So today what we're going to go over is talking a little bit about all of these important habits and skills that we want you to solidify before surgery. But we're really going to focus today on protein recommendations, protein shakes, how to prepare shakes, and how to get you ready. So we just want to review some of these key habits that you should be working on throughout the entire program. Everyone should be trying to solidify a lot of these habits as you prepare. So things like making sure you're drinking enough water. We recommend that you get in at least 64 ounces of fluids a day, and you should try to avoid caffeinated beverages. Try to stay away from carbonation. Definitely start to cut down on your alcohol intake. We'd like you to have no alcohol for the first year after surgery. And of course, trying to limit any sugary drinks, any sort of calories that are coming in through beverages is going to be really a big risk factor for weight gain after surgery. So we want you to cut down those as much as you can. We also want you to practice separating your fluids in your food. This should be by about 30 minutes. So 30 minutes before eating, you need to stop drinking, and then 30 minutes after eating is when you can resume drinking again. Definitely focus on a structured meal pattern. We want to get in 3 meals a day. That could include 1 to 2 healthy snacks, depending on how your meal timing goes throughout the day. But we want to make sure that you're eating small, frequent meals and snacks throughout the day. Definitely include lean protein with each of your meals and snacks. Always make sure that you're focusing on protein first. So make sure that as you're looking at your plate, if you've got protein and carbs and you've got fruits and vegetables, you want to try to get that protein in first. Mindfulness is always very, very important. I would argue that it's probably more important than anything we practice before surgery, but we want to eat and drink very, very slowly. We need to give our brain time to sense that that food is coming in, and that is going to be a huge factor in helping you feel good and helping you feel comfortable after surgery as you start to adjust to your smaller stomach. Definitely start to develop a routine physical activity regimen. And then we want you to start practicing with your vitamins, taking your multi and your calcium and your vitamin B vitamins. We'll talk about that more as we go throughout the process, but we definitely want you to practice that as best as you can. And then, of course, we'll talk to you more about completing your lab work. So let's first talk a little bit about why protein is so important. Protein is an absolute essential part of your diet because it forms the building blocks of your tissues, especially your muscles. It's also going to be a major part of helping your body heal after surgery. So one of the things to kind of keep in mind is that, your body every day needs protein. It turns over every day. And so it's not that you can just eat a bunch of protein on Tuesday and expect that that protein is going to fuel you throughout the rest of the week. It has to be consumed every single day. Your body needs even more protein after surgery while it's healing. So trying to get in enough protein is going to be a challenge, but we're going to be here to help you to do that. Also, another key part of protein is that it helps you feel full and helps you feel satisfied for longer periods of time. So if your meals contain protein, then you're going to feel fuller in between your meals. You need about 60 to 70 grams of protein a day. Now that is how much you're going to need after surgery. That number might increase a bit depending on your size. Right now, you might need a little bit more or a little bit less depending on if you're male or female, if you're tall, if you're shorter. your age. So those are some of the things that you want to keep in mind. But in general, after surgery, you're aiming for about 60 to 70 grams of protein a day. You can get this through high quality sources of protein, things like lean, lean beef or lean pork are going to be options, but we're really going to focus on those naturally low fat options like chicken, turkey, fish, shellfish. You can certainly do eggs. Egg whites are going to have a little bit less fat, so that's something that you can try as well. Nuts and seeds are going to provide some good protein, definitely on the vegetarian side. And then, of course, dairy. So dairy is going to be a really significant protein component of your diet because it is a high quality protein, but it also can be made into lots of soft foods. And what we find is that right after surgery, you're going to need those soft, high protein foods to really help get your protein in. A lot of patients ask, don't vegetables have protein in them? What about fruits and whole grains? Well, yes, some of them might have a little bit of protein, but it's not the high quality protein that we are really aiming for. We really are going to need to focus on lean animal sources of proteins or soy products that are going to provide high quality protein sources. So as you can see, protein is a very important part of healing after surgery, but you can imagine it's going to be challenging to get in that 60 to 70 grams because your stomach is going to be healing and you're only eating small portions. So we're going to talk about how protein shakes and protein supplements can help you with meeting your protein goals today. Also, we'll discuss how you can make your solid proteins a little bit more palatable and a little bit easier to chew in different ways that you use your cooking methods.
Protein supplements such as protein powders and ready-to-drink protein shakes are going to be a really important part of both your pre-op preparation for surgery and also your post-op recovery. You will be using protein shakes during that 2-week pre-op diet, so you're going to want to start to taste them now and get used to that flavor and find ones that you really enjoy. You're going to use them a lot during the post-op period when you're trying to get in a good amount of protein, but you're still not at that point that you're able to eat solid protein sources. So again, looking for shakes now that you enjoy, that you can afford, is really an important part of your mental preparation. When you're choosing a protein shake, you want to make sure that you follow the appropriate guidelines. They need to have at least 20 grams of protein per serving. And we would prefer this protein to come from a high quality protein source, such as whey protein or soy protein. There are vegan protein powder options out there that can be appropriate, but you're just going to want to review that with your dietitian so that they can check to make sure that it's got the right amount of amino acids and it's got the right quality that you're going to need in order to keep you healthy. We also encourage our patients to choose protein shakes that have less than 5 grams of sugar and less than 5 grams of fat. If you're having any issues with finding these protein shakes or protein powders, always reach out to your dietitian and we can certainly help you with sourcing these.
So let's talk about protein powders first. Protein powders are going to be very helpful for you because you can use them in a bunch of different ways. So first, you can blend them with liquid or ice to make a shake, a smoothie, or a beverage. You can also use powders to add protein to different soups. You can add it to yogurt, you could add it to cottage cheese or pudding, any of those things that you're able to tolerate. You can add the powder to it and it will help boost the protein intake. So there are different types of protein powders. You've got creamy protein powders that are going to be flavors like vanilla, chocolate, strawberry, and those are going to be the most common protein powders that you're going to find on the market. You also can find some clear protein powders. So these are going to be powders that mix into water and they're going to look like fruit punch or Hi-C. You could also take powders like this, mix them into water, and then you could freeze them into popsicles. Some people will make Jello with them. So it's another creative way to use your protein powder. And the last option we have is unflavored protein powders or savory protein powders. So these are not going to be sweet. They're going to be a little bit more, either the unflavored ones are completely tasteless, or you're going to have ones that maybe taste like chicken broth or tomato soup or something like that. So those can be used as another way to get in your protein. So the pros of protein powders, well, they're less expensive than ready to drink shakes. You can usually buy them in large tubs, and so the price per ounce is a lot less. The other thing is that they are very customizable. So you can add fruit to them, you can add spices, you could change up the type of liquid that you use with protein powders. So you can really make it very creative. Some of the cons to protein powders: you need to use a blender, you need to mix it up either with a blender or with a shaker bottle. So that's something that you might have to prepare a little bit more for. And they're also not shelf stable once they are prepared. So once you put them in the fridge, if you've blended them up, if you put them in the fridge, they sometimes will start to separate. So they probably need to be eaten within an hour of preparing them. So how to prepare a protein shake. So you're gonna use a blender or a shaker bottle, either way. In a blender, you're gonna take a serving of protein powder, which is either 1 or 2 scoops. So keep in mind that some protein powders, their serving size is going to be 1 scoop, and sometimes it's going to be 2 scoops. So you have to look at the back label and you have to follow the directions. That's probably going to be about 20 to 30 grams of protein just from the powder. Then you're going to add 1 to 1.5 cups of water, skim milk, unsweetened almond milk, or unsweetened soy milk in order to give it some liquid. Then you can add up to 1/2 cup of fruit. So something to keep in mind is that if you're on the pre-op diet, you don't want to add fruit, but this is something you certainly could do to give your shake a little bit of flavor, and you could certainly do that now as you prepare for surgery, or you could do it to add a little bit of fiber to your shake during that post-op period. And then you could add water or ice to give it a little bit more volume, or to whip it up kind of like a milkshake. You blend it completely, and then you can enjoy it. With the shaker bottle, it's pretty similar. A lot of people will take their shaker bottle and they'll add in their powder maybe at the beginning of the day, and then they'll take their blender bottle with them to work, and then they just add water in whenever they're ready to have their shake. Blender bottles or shaker bottles have a little whisk in the bottom that once you add your liquid to it and you shake it up, it starts to blend it for you. So it's really convenient. So now let's talk about ready to drink options. Ready to drink options are certainly more convenient. So a lot of people really enjoy them. They don't want to think about making a shake or a drink, so they just buy these. There are lots of different types of ready to drink shakes. You of course have your creamy shakes like Premier Protein shakes, Ensure Max Protein, All of these are going to come in either a plastic bottle or kind of like a cardboard box bottle, and they can be found in lots of different drugstores, big box stores, grocery stores. They're very easy to find. You can also find some clear protein drinks like Isopure Clear, Premier Clear, BiPro. These all look kind of like Gatorade. And they taste like Gatorade or Powerade or something along those lines. And so those are really nice, especially during that early post-op period when you're maybe struggling with getting in the creamy shakes. These could feel really nice and be really refreshing. And you can pair these with a piece of fruit to make it more filling or to provide a little bit more fiber. So obviously the pros of ready-to-drink shakes, they're very convenient. They're quick. They're shelf stable, so you can keep them in your car. You can keep them in your pantry without having to refrigerate them. They do taste better when you put them in the fridge or when they're cold, but it's very convenient and very, very good for being on the go. They can be more expensive though. So, one thing to think about is that if you're on a tight budget, a ready-to-drink shake might not be the best option, and they don't have as much fiber. So that's kind of why I usually tend to recommend having a piece of fruit with it. One thing to keep in mind is that you should probably have a mixture of the two, right? So you should have some ready-to-drink shakes, some protein powders. Having a couple of each is usually a good way to go because then you have the choice of which ones you want to use. So this is just some more examples of different protein supplements. Of course, you have your powders. Those are going to be up here in the tubs. You've also got some of your clear options down here. Isopure is another very popular clear drink. It's pretty expensive. At this point, it's about $4.99 a bottle. So a lot of our patients will water that down in order to make it last a little bit longer. But there's also 40 grams of protein in one bottle, so you really can buy a couple bottles and kind of use it watered down throughout the week if you'd like. This other product down here at the bottom, which I find really helpful for patients, is this chicken soup flavored Undri protein powder. Undri makes a lot of really great medical quality protein powders, but the chicken soup one is very helpful, especially if you're getting tired of drinking and eating sweet protein options after surgery. So using the chicken soup is really nice because it tastes like chicken broth. And so if you want to have something a little bit different to get your protein in, this is going to be about 20 to 25 grams of protein versus regular chicken broth is only going to be about 4 or 5 grams. You can purchase your protein shakes in many different places. So you can certainly get them at your drugstores like CVS or Walgreens. You can get them at grocery stores, and you're going to find that in like the pharmacy section. Costco and BJ's are really great places to buy shakes. We've had patients get really great deals there. And Vitamin Shop and GNC are going to have a really large variety of these different types of products. And of course, Amazon has a lot of different stuff that you're not going to be able to find necessarily in your local stores. So that concludes the presentation for today, reviewing everything about protein shakes. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us either by getting a hold of your dietitian directly or calling our front office. They can certainly direct you to one of the dietitians to answer any questions that you have. We are now going to lead you into a quiz to make sure that you understand the information. So make sure that you click on the next document within your Thinkific page and complete the quiz, and you will be able then to review your results and go over it with your dietitian the next time that you meet. We hope you've enjoyed this presentation, and again, contact us if you have any questions at all.